Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Michelle Marchant Johnson, and I'm so excited to have her here today because she's a relationship coach at Love Life Coaching, and we're talking about how you're more likely to find true love after 40. And she's going to tell us the 3 reasons why. So before we jump into it though, Michelle, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and how you became a relationship coach.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm so happy to be here. So yes, I am a woman who found real love, true love after 40. I became an ecstatic first-time bride at age 43 after a very long and winding journey to love with a lot of drama, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of disappointment, and also some fun. But I learned a lot through that period of time, and when I turned 40, I sought support and discovered some self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors that had been blocking me, and was able to move through those and attract my now amazing husband. We've been married for about 10 years now.
Yay!
And it's been a great gift and blessing. And because it's been such a great gift and blessing in my life, and because of all of the things I learned through my own experience, and since then, I'm now incredibly passionate about helping other women who are on that path to meeting and attracting their Mr. Right.
Awesome. Well, so tell me your first reason as to why a woman's more likely to find true love after 40.
Right. First of all, I just want to address the elephant in the room here. I know your inner cynic may be coming out here, right?
I love that. That is so true.
Because I know that I did not feel all of that hopeful and optimistic as a single woman as at the age of 40. And I also know that I did feel like there were more high quality women in that age bracket than men. However, I just want to turn this thing upside down a little bit and offer a little bit of perspective on this. So if you can suspend that inner cynic just for a moment, we'll go into the first tip. So the first reason I think you're more likely to find real love or true love after age 40 is because I think you know who you are. So many women who find love earlier on in their 20s or 30s, etc., find that they one day wake up and wonder who in the world it is that they're with or they're married to, because they hadn't even established their own identity and didn't even really know who they are when they entered into that partnership. And so many of those relationships don't last and they don't work out. And I think having that inner knowledge of really who you are is a really big, important step toward being able to attract real love.
Well, and that is so true. I think that once you get into your 40s and 50s is that you become more self-confident and you know your self-worth and who you are. And that's ultimately what's going to attract the right man. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. So tell me your second reason why you think that women are more likely to find love after 40.
Yeah, so it coincides with the first one, and that is you know what you want. You have greater understanding of your own wants and needs. Some of it may have come through trial and error, and some of it may have come through relationships that didn't work, but you have a greater understanding not only of yourself, but what kind of relationship you really want. You're able to define that more clearly and are able to recognize more easily after all of these years of experience. You're able to recognize more easily some of the things that may or may not work for you in a relationship. It allows you to know what you want and need and to have greater understanding and clarity about that so that you can make wiser choices. And for me, what I found is after all of these years of not making the best choices, while I learned some of these things the hard way, they did teach me so that the things that I needed to know so that I really knew what I really wanted and needed in a relationship.
That is so true, but I just want to add a little bit of an asterisk by that and say Michelle is absolutely right, but I don't want women to go to the opposite end of the spectrum and become too picky and say, I want all of this and he needs to meet all of these requirements, because I've also seen where it can go too far to the right, where they're so picky that it actually keeps them single because they're waiting for that Mr. quote unquote perfect, and perfect doesn't exist.
Right, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because we can become too rigid in our requirements and too specific. But I do think it is important to have a basic understanding of your deepest love, wants, and needs in a relationship, and those things that are truly the non-negotiables.
Exactly. So what's your next tip?
Well, the next one is the reason I think that it's possible and even more likely that you might find love after 40 is that there are more avenues and channels than ever before in the history of the world to do so. I mean, it used to be years ago that people, they only had a few ways that they could meet someone, through family or friends or at church or whatever. But now we have a whole wide world of opportunity. And I really believe that the internet is our friend when it comes to creating the opportunities that we want when it comes to meeting and attracting love. And I believe that you have more control in this area of your life. And when I say control, I don't mean that you're controlling someone else, but you have more control over creating possibility, creating opportunity, and of meeting more people if you're intentional about that and if you have a plan. I believe that it's a really great time to be dating and to be out there. And many people are now meeting online in ways they never would have met in generations past. And from what I understand, the 50 and over crowd is the largest growing population online.
Exactly. And that is so true. I think, we don't take advantage of what's really at our fingertips. And we don't realize how many opportunities we really have, and we tend to stay within our box of what we're comfortable with. And sometimes you have to go outside the box if what's working or what you're doing right now is not working for you. Right, Michelle?
That's right. That's right. We're all creatures of habit, and we all have routines. And I get that it's a stretch, and I also get that it's a stretch sometimes to beat back that inner cynic that we talked about at the beginning. But I also believe and have seen, not only in my own life, but in working with many, many women, 40, 50, 60 and above, that the possibilities are there. We just don't always see them. And just because you can't see where, when, or how you're going to meet someone right now does not mean that it's not possible. But sometimes we get in that mental frame of mind, and it doesn't serve us well, and so we don't see what is really possible for us. But I think it's a really, really great time for women in their 40s and beyond to be out there dating.
And that is so true. And like Michelle said, that she found love after 40, and I found love after 50. So we're all in a good place. And if Michelle and I can find love later in life, you can too. So these have been some great tips. So Michelle, tell our audience how they can find you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yes, please just visit lovelifecoaching.com. There's a lot of free tools and resources there, but enter your name and email address and you'll get 7 attraction principles to attract the man of your dreams, and then we can stay connected from there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.